I think that they have great kill potential against AM. If they Dream Coil him and use Solar Guardian, it's basically guaranteed going to land, right? So that part looks really good too. Clockwork is going to be decent follow-up as well. And yeah, sure, he's got lots of magic resistance against the Puck and against the Zeus, but as long as he doesn't get super far ahead, yeah, I feel like they will have ways to catch him. And if Felt isn't there to back him up and keep him alive, then AM is going to die a lot, and then Medusa will get a bit ahead. So a lot of scary things on the horizon for the Felt side.
Yeah, I mean, Felt's lineup in general, it's just I mean, I know they pick Weaver a lot. That's a kind of a standard pick for them, but Abaddon not really picked. AM, as Cinder kind of talked about, it feels like an old Medusa counter, but it doesn't feel that way necessarily anymore. I mean, what do you think of the Medusa AM like late game?
Late game, sure. Mana burn is incredibly good against Medusa. That's always going to be a reality. But it kind of depends on how your team fights are forced. A little engagement here. Again, the problem is that the team fight on the Felt side, a lot of it comes down to like Kunkka and Rubik basically. It's an Abaddon, so you're not good at forcing fights or forcing people to stay where they currently are. You have a Weaver who's not good at forcing fights and forcing people to stay where they are. So until like Anti-Mage gets like Abyssal or something, it kind of comes down to the Kunkka stuff. So I could see like Kunkka ganking the safe lane when he's somewhere between level 6 and level 9. They guarantee it like a boat combo on Dusa. AM's hitting Dusa the whole time. I could see her dying like that. But once they get to the mid game, as long as the 5RATFORCESTAFF team is remotely close to her, they're always going to back her up with Dawnbreaker ulti and Zeus ulti and probably a hook shot too. So I just don't see, I feel like 5RATFORCESTAFF's gonna be able to get a lot of kills, and I'm not so sure that Felt is gonna be able to get the same thing.
Yeah, as we're seeing some harassment onto Shu. There's a nice hammer, but not enough to actually get the kill. I mean, the thing that Felt is missing by a long shot is feels like initiation. Like really, like 3 of their heroes just don't have slows or stuns. Well, if you want to not count Curse of Avernus as a slow, because it's hard to proc.
I will not.
You have like a single target catch in X and then Rubik. Like, the initiation is going to be a huge issue, I think. But
and what spells does he steal from the enemy to lock down as well? Zeus doesn't provide anything there. He could get Battery Assault, maybe Hook Shot. Low chances though. Dream Coil is obviously the best, but that's like you know, you maybe steal that once, maybe twice a game. He got it once last game. He used it quite well, but so yeah, it feels to me like they're gonna really struggle on their ability there. Maybe Weaver can get some Medusa kills in the laning stage. I could see that perhaps. That's an option, but yeah, for sure. I don't have a huge amount of faith in their draft at the moment with the Weaver off lane.
I mean, I would love to see it work out because it's I mean, unusual things working out. Basically my career in a nutshell, so why not have lightning strike twice, Purge? Why not, friend?
This would be the best place for Felt Lightning to strike in this this Div 1 NA game when they're down 0-3 already in the season.
Yep. As yeah, we can talk about that again. Obviously both teams
I would save it.
For Div 1. These are Div 2 teams that got promoted this last season. Neither of which have won a series yet, so this is obviously a must-win for both teams. That goes without saying. But I mean, even after this, it feels like. Do you agree with Effie that neither team really has much of a chance to win a second series, like to try to get some sort of a tiebreaker situation to not get relegated?
For Felt, definitely. I believe they're the weaker team. They have to play EG and TSM and the Cut. So I do not see them beating EG or TSM. There's no way. I think they actually have like a sub 4% chance to win those. The other team they have to play is the Cut. The Cut they could beat for sure. So not looking good for them. 5RATFORCESTAFF have to play EG wildcard nouns. So I could maybe see them winning one of those.
When you say 4%, is that per game or for the series?
If I guess per game. I don't know. I haven't delineated series or game, but
good.
I just do not see them winning against those Div 1 teams, those top Div 1 teams.
I mean, that's like opening up a chest in Dota, right? That's better odds than getting an ultra rare. So
that is true.
It's not bad.
And that's why you play EG 100 times so you can beat them 4 of those times.
Well, if you want to, you know, it's like the, what do they call that? The increasing odds or whatever.
Escalating.
Yeah, the escalating. You just play EG like 49 times in scrims, and you don't win. You make sure you don't win, so that 50th time, which is an actual match, you have the best chance. That's the play.
But this definitely assumes that EG doesn't also get better during that time, or learn your habits, or how to exploit you.
Right, that's why you don't pick normal heroes. You pick, I was going to say Pudge, but that's actually a good hero these days. Techie, that's kind of a good hero too. Is Lil Nick.
It's good enough to be picked.
Yep, gets off his Starbreaker, obviously playing the Dawnbreaker, and not the Timbersaw this time, as Paradise has drained all the mana that he wishes, which means he's not going to do that much damage now, as Giant. Looks like he's able to get out to safety, thanks to the Heavenly Jump. One of the best
Did that look like
quality
Lil
of
Nick
life skills.
was body blocking Giant to you?
It looked like he was trying. Didn't look like it should have been a body block, though.
He definitely could have covered him a little bit there. But ultimately not getting a kill, that's going to be great for them. Still, even in last hits, I guess Zeus getting his mana drain is a little spooky, but as long as he can survive those deaths, that's fine. And yeah, 50 mana for a Heavenly Jump, so as long as he does have a magic stick like he did there, at some point he can wand and jump and get out.
What was your first... I know it's been a while, but you and I rarely talk other than when we consume kangaroos and zebras, but what was your first reaction to the Heavenly Jump change? Like that being an actual skill, with Static Field being the shard.
I mean, it was definitely needed, for sure, because Zeus just like... You ever play like Zeus mid against Storm? Storm would hit 6, and he just kills you. You can't do literally anything about it. That felt so awful. It was the same against like Void Spirits, and so many strong mid heroes have mobility skills. So like at some point you have to bring everyone else up to par. You can only buff his like Lightning Bolt and Nimbus so many times before it just gets stupid. So
the old power creep.
Yep. When everyone else power creeps, eventually you got to get caught up, and Sniper's finally there.
Yeah, and we've seen that with like a lot of heroes getting some AOE related stuff, like Dazzle with the shard, getting sheep. To be able to take out illusions. A lot of heroes have better damage towards creeps, like Spirit Breaker and Clockwork.
Clockwork and Undying is another one. Yeah, quite a few.
Yeah.
Battery Assault bot lane. Speaking of which, never mind. It'll disengage. Zor here, taking some damage, but they've got great sentries in the lane. They do actually get an Observer Ward. That's going to feel really good. But so far, how is this offlane Weaver doing? 30-8 versus Medusa's 30-8. So it's going just okay. You know what that means for the Weaver in the mid game? Not just okay.
Yeah, as Starbreaker is going to be used in the top lane. That's first blood for Lil Nick. There is TP support in the form of Solji coming. He gets the X into the boat, but a nice hammer timing from Lil Nick avoids everything. So the rotation is completely wasted from Felt's side.
That was the sound of Felt's hopes and dreams being sucked into my lungs at a rapid pace because they really rushed that boat. It was like it looked like kind of a guaranteed kill.
I couldn't tell if that was a voice line or if it was.
That was literally the voice that came out of my mouth when they messed up that guaranteed kill.
For TI, that should be your voice line. Just a little heads up. That was really good.
Okay. Gasp.
You know what? Speaking of your voice, everybody talks about your voice being very ASMR, like they like to turn on the video and then go to sleep. Do you ever do that to your own voice?
Do I listen to myself?
Yeah.
For ASMR? Look,
have you ever tried to listen to yourself and just be relaxed by your own voice?
No. I mean, I know that you are an ASMR connoisseur.
I am.
And thus, but I am not. So I would not search out my own needs from myself.
I feel like being able to create content for yourself is the greatest form of content. I don't know what it would be.
do your own house repairs. Do your own ASMR.
Yeah, why not?
Would I pay somebody else to cook me a burger when I could pay Culver's?
That's
or do
right.
It myself?
DNM looks like he's going to live through the day. Speed has come, gets off the coil. It does connect onto the Rubik. So this looks to be an easy kill. So this rotation from the opposite mid laner ends up coming to fruition in favor of 5RATFORCESTAFF.
It's okay. I mean, he really wanted to get both. I think he definitely wanted to catch the Weaver. That would have been the bigger kill, especially because Weaver's pre-6 too. So very, very easy to clean him up if they would have found him. Albino Zebra will try to keep him away from the creep wave as things continue. But at the moment, Speed sitting on the top of the last hit charts. But there's actually a small net worth advantage for the Felt side. Looks like their supports are just doing better as a whole. Probably because they have more last hits, I'm guessing. But
yeah, I mean, AM is actually top net worth. I mean, obviously he can bully heroes out of lane and whatnot, but I mean, in terms of the item build, yeah, he's still going for the Battle Fury. We don't really see that change all too often, and as Lil Nick is looking to pursue potentially. Maybe just trying to get some creep.
Stole the Satyr.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't really like fighting that much against the AM. Dawnbreaker, despite being such a great laner, is definitely reliant on casting spells to get value for the hero. So you can't really like lane directly against the AM and shut him down as much. Plus with the Zeus being a 4, this is definitely the big downside of the draft for the 5RAT side. But you know, as we move in the mid game, then we're going to start seeing the damage follow-ups from the disable. That's where Paradise has to start being really careful in here. In fact, here it comes.
Yep, the coil is going to be broken immediately, and wow, Paradise completely melts. They don't even have to finish their spells. He is super squish.
He had 1 point in counterspell, which is the normal here, 15% magic resistance, but his raw HP was not high, and he was also on agility treads. He did not know that Puck was coming. He didn't even get a chance to use his wand or his fairy fire. Maybe he lives if that's the case, because his stun duration was just about running out, and I think he had to use Waning Rift to get close to land the coil, so he might have actually lived if he was on strength treads and was able to pop his wand there. It was close. But he dies, and that's going to be the first of probably many deaths we see like that with the Dream Coil.
Yeah, it is a pretty good counter to the AM. I mean, going back to AM though, when they made the changes where you could have mana break in addition to diffusal, everybody got super excited with that build.
They did, and
it was terrible, like just awful. And now it's just back. Well, I shouldn't say it's back because nobody picks this hero, but when it is picked, it's still the Battle Fury Manta, I assume. But is there room for like an Aghanim Scepter potentially if things go, you know, well enough that you can go for it? Because it does feel like that's theoretically good against Medusa.
Yeah, for sure. It's some players do like building it on ATH.
DNM is going to get boat, but there's the Solar Guardian getting some nice heals from Lil Nick, and it's actually going to help Medusa survive. And you can see the rest of Felt now on the run, and there's the coil again, broken right away, but there's the Aphotic Shield with the hard dispel. So no casualties thus far in this little engagement.
I mean, they almost fought on the top lane, but as soon as the Medusa's in trouble and starts screaming, she actually didn't have Stone Gaze.
Speed,
there, but
trying to dodge some things here. Gets off the Waning Rift to buy himself a little bit of distance, and a nice cogs from Albino Zebra. It's going to result in a kill onto the Kunkka. And finally, this engagement ends. Kind of an awkward little fight after the fact.
Yeah, but 5RATFORCESTAFF know where their win condition is. It's in the Medusa. As soon as she gets gone on, everybody showed up to the fight. Unfortunate they burned the coil like that, because you could have instead used it to maybe pressure the AM or somebody else. But finally, one doesn't work out. You can see a replay here. There's the everything basically. It actually did give her some nice time. That stun duration was huge. Bottom time to pop a wand as well. So very needed by Lil Nick there.
All right, back to the important topic at hand, and that is we're going to have to hold our horses again, because Lil Nick getting ganked. There's the X. Torrent is not going to get dodged this time, and you can see that he's getting outnumbered. A time lapse is actually going to keep the Weaver alive, and now they should be able to bring down Lil Nick. Although Albino Zebra is here. Yeah, they do lose Lil Nick, but it's going to be a cleanup for Wake Me Up at the very least, as a big Thunder God's Wrath is there as well. And you can see the Kunkka gets off the boat. Albino Zebra dies within his own cogs. Double kill for Solji. He might be getting chased now. There is a coil still. Obviously with the Abaddon nearby, have to be careful. Don't think they can pursue any further, as the X is going to scare him off. It's off the Illusory Orb, but no follow-up.
Yeah, he was definitely thinking about it because he had Arcane Orb, so his abilities are pretty low cooldown. Could get more sets of these off in harassment, but you know, that's 2 coils in a row that have not worked out for him, unfortunately. I mean, they're trying to react well to the stuff that's happening, but maybe there's just not enough backup from his allies. I mean, the clock had died already, so he wasn't able to be there. It looks like his TP was on cooldown as well, so he couldn't even come back when he respawned. So it looked like a great coil, but just not enough follow-up yet, and you can bet your ass that Medusa would rather just hit tri-camp creeps anyway, so they're not upset about this. But there's a little bit of worry about the AM also getting the same thing, because he is a pretty strong late game carry. But again, if they've got decent catch against him, AM is most annoying when he gets the split push constantly and force your team to react to where he's going, but not be successful in catching him. So if they have catches against him as the game goes on, maybe transition into a late game sheep or something, or some orchids, they'll have decent opportunities. And that's smokes for both teams.
Yeah, the tier 1 tower was taken out, and we'll see if Felt is able to connect onto DNM, who is stacking his own camps right now. They do place a ward into the mid lane, but DNM looks to be fine for now. As a hook shot onto the AM. Do they have enough lockdown for this? Looks like with that coil, indeed they do. You called it that Paradise is going to have a lot of issues with that coil. He was actually... Did he have enough for Battle Fury? Because he's like 200 off now. I wonder how much gold he lost in that.
It must have been close. He has Kurz on position as well.
As the Torrent going to connect in the bot lane. Heavenly jump, but Abaddon closing the gap a bit.
Gank.
Yep, you got the missed coil. It's enough. It's enough.
It was so bad though. I was like, oh, the rare Abaddon gank. And then he hits him with the missed coil and then shields himself. And you're like, oh god, that's all he could do. Freaking useless.
Well, he looks scary though. You know, it is a dead mount that he's riding.
That's actually a very intimidating setup. He looks very spooky. True rotting flesh on your favorite creature.
Indeed. Zor on this Weaver. Dealing some damage to this tier 1 tower. There's the missed coil from Shu. And I just really want to talk about AM's build. He has the Battle Fury. Okay,
wow.
Talk to me about Aghanim Scepter before there's a fight. For God's sake, just say something.
Dude, there's 4 heroes standing around a tier 1 tower. You really think there's not going to be a fight
Scepter.
in 20 seconds? It's good sometimes. You throw it in, it makes it hard for your opponents to engage. Or because they have to deal with the illusion. All right, they're going to engage on Medusa.
Keep talking about Aghanim Scepter. I'm really enjoying it. Albino Ziva's going to get off the cogs onto Shu. Already expended that borrowed time, so he's going to get deleted for now as the orb is stolen.
That's pretty good. Once you get 2 AoEs on Rubik, that's when the game really opens up. So now you get to easily nuke creep waves, accelerate yourself towards the important items. Yeah, but the AM Ags, what he can basically do ideally is you throw it on like a Zeus or something. Zeus can't kill the illusion super easily. Zeus has to run away from the illusion, and then it makes it easier to like poke and like commit to a fight. Because AM, for a long time in the game, we're talking until he has like 3 items, he's got to be scared about fighting. And you can see it in these engagements. He just dies fast. His raw HP is stupidly low. AM is one of those weakest heroes in the game, 1.6 strength gain per level. He's got no raw HP. It's because he's very resistant against magic, but as soon as he gets HP, he's hard to kill. So if he jumps in and makes mistakes and dies, it's very dangerous. That's why you got to buy the Ags sometimes, so you can like launch in these illusions, get a little poking action going. That's definitely one of the things that that they're kind of missing on Felt. They don't really have the best frontliners, so it makes it hard to take fights.
Coil used to take out the support Rubik from Wake Me Up, and Speed doing quite well for himself, as there is a Deso on Little Nick's Dawnbreaker. I love to see this. I mean, I don't know if it's good, but I love buying it. It's fun.
I think it's great. We've definitely seen Deso get more popular on Dawnbreaker in the last couple weeks, and definitely not in just this region. It is by far the best damage item you can get to enhance Starbreaker damage, basically. And the more raw damage you do, the more lifesteal you're getting from Luminosity as well. And the reason they're doing this, in exchange for getting a BKB at a reasonable time for Dawnbreaker, is so that they can kill AM on these combos. AM is weak to physical damage. His raw armor is not that great. It doesn't become decent until much later. So if you can channel Dream Coil plus anything else, plus Dawnbreaker ulti, and then Dawnbreaker Starbreaker, that's how you kill AM. It's going to really make these mid-game kills on him feel viable instead of like very difficult.
Yeah, and it gives them a little bit better kill potential on Roche, because their Roche is kind of weak until Medusa gets a lot more items.
That's true, but I mean, they're playing Radiant side. Radiant isn't really as much. You don't always have to be about taking Roche necessarily, as long as you can like sit back and farm on your win condition, which they can with Medusa. Oh,
Solar Guardian's coming in as the coil is broken by Zor, and he will drop shortly after. So 1 for 1, as that is the first Stone Gaze of the game, I do believe, as Solji has to pop the BKB. Starbreaker's going to miss as a result, so no stun this time around. Solar Guardian stolen. I believe this is a Rubik coming in, indeed, with that Fable. Little Nick has to back up thanks to the low HP, but Speed, okay, he comes back in, actually, and ends up deleting another hero. So DNM with a double kill on the Medusa. Solji, good attempt to get to the low ground, but it is not to be. So another massive one fight here from Felt.
Yeah, I mean, they popped BKB on the Kunkka, but Nick still did top DPS in that fight as a Dawnbreaker. Did 10 more than the Puck did. That's because with the Deso, the Starbreaker damage was very impressive against Kunkka there before his boat was able to hit. Looked like a little bit of a rough fight, especially because the Clockwork got cleaned up so casually at the start. Albino Zebra basically had nothing off, but the coil separates the Rubik a little bit, which is nice. That's where he steals Dawnbreaker ulti, and then, yeah, unfortunately, Kunkka was forced to run to this direction. He did choose to fight a little bit, thinking his team would back him up here, but he took so much damage in that first, like, 2 seconds that basically his team got cold feet a bit, and they weren't really able to continue fighting.
Yeah, was a good stolen Solar Guardian, but didn't really have that much impact in the end. As Lil Nick.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was like calling for the fight because he stole, like, oh, let's fight him. I've got Solar Guardian, but he didn't coordinate it very well, unfortunately. They needed to do like an X into boat on a squishy guy. They were playing.
We talked about that problem is they don't really have the grid. It's just Kunkka and Telekinesis. And if the hero that you have Solar Guardian on is your main stunner right now, which is Rubik, then it's literally just Kunkka that can set that up, right?
But I mean, he's like the best setup here in the game in their defense, right? And it's not like they had BKBs on all their heroes. It was just the problem that it was like Medusa plus Dawnbreaker plus, was it Puck? All three of those heroes are like pretty hard to combo, right?
Yeah,
they're just too damn tanky.
As Butterfly now online for the Medusa, so DNM is very, very freaking. I mean, he's 3K ahead of the AM essentially with the Manta Butterfly now.
Yeah, FE called that one exactly perfectly. Manta directly into the Butterfly, whereas almost all other cases on Medusa, you get Scotty, because the raw efficiency, the estimated hit points you get from Scotty is just so incredible because of Mana Shield. So yeah, now that he's got this super early evasion timing, AM can't deal with that for a while here.
Yep, boat will connect on the Clocker. They've already lost the Abaddon, though, on the side of Felt. Here comes the Solar Guardian from Lil Nick with the double damage. Not able to really connect on anybody, but at the very least he is here in numbers with the majority of his team. Coil onto the Kunkka, and he is getting deleted. So much burst damage coming the way of 5RATFORCESTAFF, and they're just dropping like flies as Felt. Oh, Paradise gets a huge mana void, though. Not enough to find a kill other than on the Clockwork. It's the Orchid to follow for zone. This might be enough. Yules is not up for another 13 seconds. The damage coming out from the Orchid, not quite enough, though. And eventually, Paradise does find the double kill on 2 support. Speed still trying to get away. The illusory orb. Yep, we'll be able to dodge the auto attacks. Actually, did he cancel the TP there? Either way, Speed looks to be okay. Oh, Zone.
Okay,
he wants him.
Doing the same thing.
Yeah, close one.
That was quite the chase, quite the chase. Ultimately good start of the fight. The fact that Kunkka got a little bit aggressive with his BKB after he had used it was a big mistake. It allows him to get the nice setup there. It was a good steal from Wake Me Up, stole the Thunder God's Wrath, which did a good chunk of damage, but ultimately the Clockwork is looking very effective against Abaddon. It's great at segmenting team fights, obviously, but just the fact that you can get him into cogs, his ulti gets used, and he can't just walk away during it is such a big advantage. Just providing that battery assault and the cog pressure when you might want to run away just makes I keep seeing Abaddon just dying without getting good value out of his ulti, when normally it's just a pain in the ass to kill him. So
yeah,
it's a really nice advantage for the 5RAT side as they continue their gold advantage. Not that it's that amazing at the moment, but they're getting there.
4K is not too shabby at 22 minutes. I mean, with this Butterfly now on the Medusa, looks like the AM is going for the BKB, but like, doesn't this force you to buy like an MKB or something at some point, even though it's not something you really want to do on AM?
That's why it's so good, because AM has this like set amount of items that you just kind of have to purchase, and there isn't really any variation that you can get. You have to go Battle Fury, basically. You have to get Manta because Manta's so god tier with AM. And then you have to buy your survivability items so you can actually start fighting. And once you get BKB, then you have to start considering, do I want Basher instead? Like, at some point, you're supposed to be the counter to Medusa, right? Well, are you going to give up being viable against all other heroes? Just so you can kill the carry? That feels like a hard choice for anti-mage, basically. So the Butterfly is a big problem. Nice kill, though.
Yep, he does get... I mean, he's done a lot of damage to the Mana Voids thus far. We'll see if that ends up continuing or not. But yes, 3K lead for 5RATFORCESTAFF as Albino Zebra in the bot lane, just kind of biding his time. In zone, I mean, we talked about the Orchid has a Dragon Lance now. Already 4 charges on this Deso in the meantime. It looks like, yeah, DNM does have the Crystallis, opting to go for BKB next just to play it a little bit safe before eventually upgrading into what I would assume is a Daedalus, or could go Bloodthorn.
Could go Bloodthorn, or no, Bloodthorn doesn't have crit anymore. So it'd be Silver Edge or Daedalus.
That's right.
Bloodthorn now is the Mage Slayer, of course.
Yeah, of course. Very popular.
Mage Slayer Orchid, naturally.
Very popular.
I would say probably he gets, maybe he does Silver Edge, but Daedalus is really solid because just, again, physical damage beats AM. And if he's split shotting on the AM illusions, he's going to kill those quite quick, protect his team. But yeah, he needs BKB. That way, if he does get X comboed, he doesn't, like, in a bad spot, he doesn't for sure die against, like, an AM. Because otherwise, if he's ever out of position and Kunkka is there, AM shows up and he dies, even with Butterfly, probably. So it's kind of spooky.
Well, Roche attempt is coming. Coil to kind of slow this down a bit. Paradise pops the BKB a little bit early. And this is a newly picked up BKB. Aegis is going to be taken by DNM along with the Roche itself as Little Nick inside the pit. Focusing on the Rubik.
Oh,
looks like they'll find that pretty easily as DNM gets a massive Stone Gaze off and they find the AM. And that is the big kill in this engagement. It is a 2 for 2, but still in favor of 5RATFORCESTAFF as Speed focusing on Shu next. Gets Orchided though, so has to kind of back away a bit. Let's see if he ends up focusing on zone. Here comes a Solar Guardian. Get the heals up onto Speed. Oh. Actually, the stun connects onto the Weaver. That's going to result in yet another kill. And Shu dies next. Poor Abaddon just does not look tanky at all this game. And Solji attempting to run
I'm
away.
not sure that they comboed that on purpose with the Yules, but it worked out ridiculously perfectly, catching the Weaver there. But the real thing that just killed AM, though, is Stone Gaze kicks in, 50% bonus physical damage, and he gets hit by the Deso from the Dawnbreaker. Instantly melts there. Yeah. So
yeah, let's look at that replay.
Jump in there.
And his BKB
it looked a little dangerous
down.
for Nick, but Nick pops BKB, so that was the crucial thing. That was AM blinking in to go kill Nick.
Oof.
Didn't realize he had a BKB, realized he made a huge mistake, and then instantly gets shredded by the physical damage.
Yeah, that
so they didn't read Nick's timings, and his BKB comes just in time here.
Yeah, that was perfectly timed. You're right. That was.
It's really close.
Yeah.
I thought it wasn't going to hit, actually. I really didn't. It's like his HP bar comes back, he's still in the air, and that's when he got stunned.
Yeah. Like that reaction. Very nicely done from 5RATFORCESTAFF, who still have the Aegis to work with. There's the hook shot onto Shu. The poor young man has borrowed time, but he is surrounded by enemies. As Zor just puts out a swarm.
Sunsfan, he reacted to that perfectly with how he should with breaking the cogs. And by the time he got out of the cogs and was pushed by the cogs, he had like 1 second left on borrowed time. That's how good of a counter that is against the Abaddon.
Wow. It's good stuff.
It just completely messes up his whole ulti. He's only level 10, of course, so it's only level 1 ulti, 4-second duration, but still very powerful.
DNM ended up opting for the full Daedalus instead of going for the BKB, feeling extremely strong thanks to this Aegis, obviously. Virtually unkillable outside of a massive mana void, but again, like we talked about, the evasion, pretty damn good against AM. I feel like they would have to like upgrade the Orchid on Weaver and try to rely on Bloodthorn, but then you have Manta to dispel it, so it feels like there's not really great options for Felt, as they are continuing to focus on the racks, and likely this melee, at the very least, will be conceded. And we'll see if 5RATFORCESTAFF, I should say, want to reset. Still plenty of time on this Aegis.
AIM's going to cut the creep wave, but it's too late. They already got the barracks, so they had enough creeps to finish that up. DNM's mana is completely gone here. A little reset would be kind of nice, because getting his mana back is going to take a little bit of jungling otherwise. And I don't think they... Is it faster to jungle to get your mana back with Snake, or is it better to go heal? It's close to BKB, so you won't have to worry about this for too much longer.
Oh, there's a regen. He's fine.
Oh, that's a great way to do it.
Yeah. Good clean rune. I mean, what?
Yeah, that's a laugh.
What
does
does
for sure.
For Felt side? I know we had them as the underdogs coming in, and they're at a pretty massive disadvantage now. But what is the play exactly? Like, is there an item that you think could make a huge difference that's somewhat close to being finished?
I don't really see an item solution that much. Anti-Mage is going to get by MKB over Basher now. He's thinking about Basher. But mostly it's about separating your opponents, and like if they can get like 4 heroes to kill 1 hero, or kill Medusa, break her Aegis, and find an opportunity, that would be certainly the way to play. But the problem is that even getting 5RATFORCESTAFF to split up on the map isn't easy. Dawnbreaker can split push these waves and still ulti to catch up. So, but they are cutting creep waves effectively. Zor just nailed the bot one, which is really good. Gets spotted by Zeus ult though. Oh, that was pretty funny.
Yep, they still have vision. He is still coiled. Gets off the Orchid though, and the Atos to follow. But with Zeus around, it's going to be pretty difficult to get out. Another kill goes the way of 5RATFORCESTAFF.
Just kind of unfortunate for Zor. He's like, oh, if I time-lapse, surely they're not going to catch me, because they just spotted me with the Zeus ulti. So he's like, oh, if I time-lapse, I'll be safe. But he time-lapsed right to them.
That's a lot of juke in there.
He was very far away. He was like good 2,000 units away from them when he time-lapsed back to directly on top of Puck. So definitely killed himself, but didn't have the vision to know. So just made a gut feel, and it was the wrong one.
Aegis now expended, but obviously DNM feels quite comfortable, not only with the lead that they have right now, but the newly picked up BKB. And looks like he's going to opt for the Satanic. And again, kind of echoing last game, we'll see how disciplined they want to be, if they want to try to wait for second Roche or try to push the advantage that they obviously know that they have right now. A little bit of poking going on in the tier 3 bot, as AM is pushing top lane, but obviously not going to be able to push nearly as fast. Hookshot does miss. Manta popped. Yeah, AM is doing considerable damage. I mean, the Curse of Avernus is not something to scoff at. In addition to the right clicks there, but they're going to have to try to defend, as AM is going to get that tier 3 tower. We'll see how 5RATFORCESTAFF want to actually respond to this. Okay, looks like AM is actually TPing. So yeah, this looks like a fight. And that's actually MKB. This could be a huge turnaround potentially. Big surprise for DNM. Of course, they don't really have lockdown, as we kind of illustrated early on. It's going to be hard to catch them off guard. Kind of have to wait for that BKB. But looks like they're conceding their second racks now. And now the MKB is being shown. This really isn't going to be a surprise anymore.
I mean, they knew it was coming eventually, but ultimately they get out. Great poking from Speed there to get them low on the back line.
Yep, here's the fight. Low Mech has the BKB, but my god, the Weaver taking so much damage. Shu dies. Double kill for Giant, just with the Thunder God's Wrath as the coil onto the Rubik in the backside. Trying to finish him off, but he might actually live through this. Speed trying to reset, and does so successfully. Didn't find the kill, though.
Medusa stalls everything. BKB and
oh my god! All right, Wake Me Up just walks up and dies. Does have buyback,
he stole
though.
Dreamquell. Very good steal. Well done.
And then died. Very sad.
And then died. Took it to the grave.
And this is going to be Megas if they don't defend here. Again, both supports have buyback. I say supports. 1 core, 1 support. As they force out the borrowed time. And DNM, this is going to be the last stand potentially for Felt in this game number 2. And AM absolutely melts. Not even close. That was triple kill for Speed, and that should be GG. This was an absolute shellacking. I don't even know where to be on the tier list, but it was a shellacking nonetheless.
Yeah, that's a physical damage against AM. Once you fight him in this like 5v5 when you're even or ahead in net worth, he does not